Hello, everyone. So I want to talk about the betting industry. You know, your Paddy Power, etc., etc. Your online gambling, your online poker, whatever you may say. Um, it is an addiction for a lot of people. For a lot of people, they are addicted. When they win, they can never stop because they think they keep winning and they keep losing and losing and losing. It's just the cycle keeps repeating pretty much. And Paddy Power has talked to they're going to close 28 shops in Ireland. 120 jobs or so will be gone. It's unfortunate that has to happen. But the majority of towns, take for example Cavan, you go into Cavan, the majority of things are either Turkish barbers, betting shops, or phone repair shops. It's quite insane. That's the majority nearly of shops. They make up nearly 70% or so of main towns and cities in the country. 70%, maybe 60 in some cases. Maybe a bit too high, 60 we go. But it's insane to think. But the betting industry has become huge, especially online now. I've seen many people online, not even just in Ireland, like bet thousands a day, and going into debt and stuff. And I wonder how people get the money for now. I'm not saying every 10 seconds of the day, I'm not saying if you put a bet on, let's say, every once in the blue moon, right? You put a bet on for a final or something like that. I'm not saying that you're an addiction or things to that. That's okay now and again, but people are doing it constantly, and there's a lot of people going into debt about it. I've seen recently enough a lot of it's been said in the media that a lot of particularly young people in their thirties apparently are getting very addicted to it. Particularly the hot poker and stuff online. It seems to be more online stuff now. But it said there was a lot of young people, particularly in their thirties, around that are getting addicted to that kind of stuff, like online hot poker and other kind of stuff, other kind of gambling online like that. Um, like there's some kid, like even just speaking of it too, like a lot of young children now have been nearly pushed into gambling. We see with Call of Duty and stuff with the COD points, etc., pretty much, and with Quates in Fortnite too and stuff like that. Not really in Fortnite, but in Call of Duty. And in other AAA games, we see that the loot boxes, made. That's the right word to use. That you don't know what you're getting. It's like gambling. You could spend thousands of euro on gambling on loot boxes, not knowing what you get. It's like match attacks too, I suppose, back in the day too. But it is an addiction, and we do have to work on it because there's so many people, as I say, uh, it's around their thirties or so. But they said a lot of people could be. I think they nearly said there could be 10,000 or something like that people in Ireland in debt because of gambling. Because they're constantly gambling, losing and losing and losing. Then when they win, they keep going and winning, going and going and going, and the cycle just keeps going. But there's not enough support for these people, first of all, to get off the gambling. And first of all, we need to kind of get rid of half of these places in towns and villages in this country, because having about 5 or 6 of them in Cavan Town is a bit too much. Whatever, but having one is good enough. But they're like trying to entice people to do it. But it's good. It's good every once in a while, and not good, but it's tolerable every once in a while. But you know, doing it every 5 minutes, as Jesus said to the money lenders, turned over the tables. That's probably what we should be doing to the gambling industry, turning the tables on them, um, to the money lenders, because that's what it is. And then there's the other side of the coin, what I'm just saying about people go and they keep winning and they get money from money lenders and stuff and end up in debt to them, and it's just the cycle keeps going and going and going, and there's never really any stop to it. Like just cases I was looking at the case in, I think it was Serbia, of all places. I was looking at the case that somebody was killed by a gang because they owed so much money and through to gambling debts. They gambled everything they owned, and they owed the mafia. Well, not the mafia, I don't think it was, but it was a gang in Serbia. They owed them thousands, hundreds of thousands of euro, probably our money. God knows how much it could be in euros. It could be 100,000. But they were killed because of that, and he just kept going because it was an addiction, and unfortunately there was no help from him. But it's the same what's happening here in Ireland. There's criminal gangs taking advantage of that, and they're not going to ask nicely for the money, and to keep putting up the price, and not even that too. Charge of big interest rates and stuff like that, like shady stuff. But it's something that we do have to get a grasp on as a society too, because it's seeping into children particularly too, as we see with games and stuff. There's loot boxes and stuff. It should never be allowed to happen, and we should never allow that to happen in games. Um, because that's what's happened. It's pretty much trying to normalise the children too, to bring them up on it. And I don't know why. I think this is from 2 years ago. The article that I'm looking at, that it did say people in their thirties are getting more addicted to the online gambling. But there's not really much you can really do with the online thing. But I do think we should. And the banks, and I know the banks, I hate having to say this because again, it's up to the person to decide themselves. But I do think the banks should put a warning, like if you do enough, say for example, you do 7 or 8 bets a week or something like that. The bank should give you a warning, but obviously, the banks don't stop you from your paying it, because at the end of the day, it's your own money. If you want to spend, you can do it. But I do think there should be some kind of warning from the bank that maybe you should take a break from betting, etc., etc., something like that. Because majority of apps nowadays, take for example my app, banking app, I have to go in and log on to approve it. I have to click approve the transaction. For a lot of the stuff, online particularly, you have to go in and approve it on the app, and that's all well and good. But I do think there should be something, if it's to do with a gambling website or to do with stuff like that, the bank should have a notification if you say you use it 6 or 7 times a week or something, or more. That the bank should you have to click a notification saying you agree, because at the end of the day you have to think of it too, that it is the person's own money, unless they're borrowing it from somebody, of course. But in a lot of cases it would be their own money, and I don't think it's appropriate too, in a way, because you have to try and get a balance. That's the thing, you have to try and get a balance, because people that are addicted to something, it's very hard to get them unaddicted. It's very hard to talk sense to them. But it's about getting that balance. You have to try and find the balance, but there has to be more support too for people who are addicted to gambling. It's the same with drugs and the same with alcoholics and with all that, and it's not enough support. And it's just a shame. It's a shame, but it's the same with everything. When you get addicted to something, you can't stop. I'm sure we all are addicted to something, either going for walks, watching telly, playing football, playing games online and stuff, etc. Everybody's addicted to something. Some things are beneficial. Say there's a lot of people addicted to fitness. Obviously, overdoing it, it's not great. But there's a lot of people who are into fitness, etc., etc. And that's all well and good too, because you're getting exercise, you're getting out into it. Fresh air is good medicine. But at the same time, too, you don't want to overdo it. There's such thing as overdoing it. But anyway, as I say, we have to strike a balance. But but it is something that we do have to look at, because, as I say, particularly because it's been normalised to children. That's what I'm really worried about, that in the next few years it could be even worse. And particularly with the online world, whatever about in Paddy Power and stuff like that nowadays, if you went into the bookies and stuff, placed loads of bets, maybe the person behind the counter would say, no, we're not taking any more. But I don't know what the... Whatever, let me know what you think, subscribe for more, bye.